technical chart just flashed something absolutely mind-melting that will change everything about what you think Bitcoin is about to do. And once you see this data, you will literally be jumping for joy and squealing from the rooftops. Right now, I want you to think of the highest price that you think Bitcoin could ever go. You got it? Now double it. That's literally almost twice as big. Right now, the price of Bitcoin continues to stay within a range that we've been watching, waiting, and holding our cheeks on. But something much bigger has just shown up on one of the most legendary time frame charts since the beginning of mankind. And we're going to be jumping into this. First off, I want to take a look at a few charts here. So Stock Money Lizard's talking about a repeat of 2019, which I absolutely agree with. I've been talking about as well for months and months and months. And the potential for a nice little baby dip before continuing this rally, breaching 30K to infinity and beyond. And it's truly a fractal that lines up with these RSI crosses, and as well, this next chart that I'm going to be showing you later in the video, what it's showing on the RSI MACD combined with the time frame that we see on this macro chart is completely mind-blowing. So Peter Sniff, though, I do want to highlight, he's been saying a lot of good things lately. He's a little confused. He believes that people are going to be set back 1 trillion years and start bartering with gold instead of using Bitcoin, and I believe that's one of his biggest mistakes. However, I do believe he also actually buys Bitcoin. His son is famous for being one of the most famous Bitcoiners of all time, but the U.S. economy, he states here, has never been poised on the brink of a financial and economic cliff nearly as ominous as the one it's perched on now. Yet despite being the architect of this precarious position, the Fed remains clueless to the impending crisis its own policies are making inevitable. The top comment here saying, no, this isn't even close to 2008. And Peter Sniff himself going into his comments and saying, that's right, it will be much worse. And he's also stating he's predicted both. We do have to be a little cautious, though, because Peter Sniff also predicted that Bitcoin would go to zero. And in fact, year after year, it's proven to only go to infinity and beyond. And oops, wrong photo. If we take a look here, first quarter 2023 performance of select assets, Bitcoin reigns true. Over 70% compared to the 16, 13, 12, and lower numbers we see looking at the NASDAQ composite, the Germany DAX, gold, S&P 500, and so on and so forth. Bitcoin is very volatile. That's why we're here. But most importantly, Bitcoin is performing very optimistically in the midst of potentially the biggest banking crisis since the beginning of banking confirmed. If we take a look here as well, Titan of Crypto stating the bottom is in, and as I've firmly stated for the last few months, 15, 16, 17K, I mean, are you really going to get a lower buy-in price than that? I thought anywhere below 20 was like a very quick blip that I think is not something we'll really ever have the opportunity, or is just a very low chance of having opportunities below that level. And we spent a pretty long amount of time below 20K. And people got very greedy and they thought, no, 10K, no, below 10K, we have to get even lower. And now those people are screaming and squealing, begging for Binance to collapse. That way they can, be proven right. They're just waiting for some doomsday scenario, which is very selfish in my opinion, and also complete turkey gobble. But the Williams VIX Fix indicator catches market bottoms in all asset classes, including Bitcoin. And once this bar flips white after a series of greenage, the bottom is in. For those who are still in doubt, convinced the 10K bottom is yet to come, reconsider the idea. And absolutely very true statement there, in my opinion. I agree with this. And if we look now, so much time has passed we've been in this bear market for like a year and a half. If we look now, in retrospect, this again is starting to really look like we just start inching and squinching out of the very depths of a bear market, right? Historically, so many things are lining up. And every day that ticks by that we aren't at or near 10K, that hope becomes less and less likely. Also, the U.S. job openings today fell to 9.93 million, lower than expected, which is a metric that the Fed is absolutely waiting for. Well, now, why is the market not absolutely rallying on this news? Considering that this metric, as we're starting to see job openings starting to fall a little bit, maybe the Fed is getting a little more confident in the fact they can ease up. Why isn't the market reacting as positively? It looked as though it was earlier, but I believe there's something much bigger at play. And as well, if we take a look at the Newpol indicator, the net unrealized profit loss, you can see that it's entered into the stage of optimism/anxiety range after touching on 29K. And this is a range where some caution is needed. the belief denial range where Bitcoin takes a pause, but this is only the beginning, and phase 2 rally is absolutely much juicier, much bigger, and that is on the way. However, this pause, potentially, as I've stated, also a pullback, becomes necessary potentially first. And it is worth noting, in March, Charles Schwab had its worst month since 1987. I was negative 30 years old in 1987. I was only born 6 years ago, to fears of banking contagion. So that's absolutely very big. And if we take a look again at Stock Money Lizard, just again, more bullish confirmation. And we're about to look at a chart that I'm actually really excited to look at. Stocks really enjoy the end of a Fed hiking cycle. Yes, you can see that's a very likely prospect. But if we take a look at Bitcoin's monthly chart, this is where things get big. We see the monthly MACD about to cross bullish for the very first time with any significant momentum since May of 2019. We had a little itsy-bitsy cross after we dipped out of it because of the crash in March of 2020, which we all know the reason for that. That's the reason we dipped red even for a few months anyway, before completely busting and thrusting to the upside. But more importantly, this is the most optimistic, momentum-filled MACD cross we've had since the beginning, the precursor of the last bull market. Where if you would have bought kind of in this range around Bitcoin at like 5,000 USD and rode it up to almost 70K, that's a good trade. That's a lot of profit. When Bitcoin was at 5K, altcoins, they were worth pennies, right? They were worth not that much. Now, let's say, again, it's not going to repeat exactly, very unlikely. But I mean, let's say that we're anywhere, we're about to see something anywhere similar. Again, you have to discount that the crash in March, it was a very artificial or black swan event that had this down, but ultimately just curved straight back up and got a nice boost. But now people are talking about, at least 100,000, 150, 200,000 per Bitcoin, which I think is a very realistic possibility, but as well, a lot of valuations in these top altcoins. And if we truly are seeing the beginning stages of that, if we truly are headed for maximum upside over the next 6 to 12 months, trading positions are going to be blown to the upside. If we see anything similar like we've seen historically, as the halving nears, we're seeing a similar similarities in terms of the halving. We're seeing the MACD, not to mention the biggest of all, the RSI just got a cross. And every time we've had this bullish cross with the purple going above the yellow line, well, let's take a look at what happened last time we got a cross. Bitcoin was at 3,500, rode up to 14K. And then again, we know about the manufactured Black Swan event that we had to get another cross. Bitcoin was at 8K. And what happened after that? Over 60K. And we have not had a bullish cross on this monthly RSI since then. So this is the very first time we're getting that exact same cross. Now, keep in mind, did this predict downside as well when it crossed bearish with the purple going below the yellow? Well, let's take a squeak peek. It crossed. Bitcoin was at 57K. What happened after that? Complete dumpage. Okay, we even had that little slight blow off top, which I personally think was kind of more of a double top, even though it slightly went below it or above it, right? This is, in my opinion, again, just a double top. We barely squeaked out a new high, but then we immediately got dumped on. So this accurately predicted that. Now, what about that? Did we have a dump the time before that? Well, it showed us this same signal when Bitcoin was at around 14, 15K. Actually, even higher than that. Yeah, around 15K or so. It was fluctuating between 15 and 18K. And what happened? Bear market. This is huge. This signal is not like an hourly. It's not a 4-hour chart, even a daily or weekly chart. It's the monthly chart. And it's showing us momentum is about to flip big. Now, does that mean we're about to blow up by tomorrow? No, it doesn't. We could, as I've been talking about, we could still have a move below 25K. But ultimately, over the next few weeks, this could get extremely big, okay? Based on every single technical indicator, if you want to be very bearish, the only narrative you have is, well, Binance needs to collapse or inflation needs to jump a lot, but we've seen how that's changed over the last month. We have seen how the Fed is in a tight place where most likely it cannot keep putting pressure on some of these assets like Bitcoin or putting policies or continuing to reinforce policies that will hurt Bitcoin, considering their banks are being crumbled and Bitcoin is unfazed and ready to bust. So this is an insanely bullish position to where what I'm doing, again, this isn't financial advice, but I will be transparent on how I aim to approach this, is that I'm building positions to long this because, again, these scenarios, as you're seeing on this chart, as I'm showing you this monthly MACD, all of these cyclical patterns that seem to repeat, they only happen every few years. So again, in a year from now, let's say Bitcoin's over 100,000. It is not smart to be saying, guys, Bitcoin's over 100,000. Let's start longing. No, the most optimistic time is trying to anticipate that beforehand in a bear market. Is this right now the most premium optimistic time to be anticipating massive upside, a year-long upside? Well, historically, the answer would tell us that the answer is yes. But yeah, we're seeing the stock market down a little bit today. We're still trading within the bone zone. Over the next couple of days, it's very uncertain exactly which way the price is going to go. Again, we're still waiting potentially for a dump. But in my opinion, over the next few weeks, things look very, very, very bullish. And currently my trades are still roughly about 20,000 in profit. I aim to take profit on these bad boys in the hundreds of thousands or something crazy like that, right? But if you're interested in trading, you can sign up with the links below, over 50,000 in deposit and sign up bonuses. And as well, if you sign up with my link below, 0 trading fees for spot trading when you sign up with BITGET or BitGet. Absolutely massive, and very important not to pay premiums or fees for spot trading. And without any further ado, that's it for me.